Good afternoon, this is Lynx. Those of you who've gotten a reading from me know that I'm usually encouraging people to make their own decisions. I'll usually look at potentials and I'll look at possibilities and I'll say, well, if you're interested in getting this outcome, then I suggest this. If you're interested in getting that outcome, then I suggest this. And those of you who've seen my videos know that I talk about wishes a lot, and I've put it in I phrased it as though we're living in a sort of wishing shop, and we have the right to make whatever wishes we choose to make. We can wish for our own success, we can wish for our freedom, or we can wish for our own enslavement and our own misery. And each one has a right to wish for whatever it is they choose to wish for. It's up to them. They're the one making the wishes. But they're the one that is going to have to do the work or pay the price or whatever it is that comes with the wish. Whatever it is, even if you don't wish, then you're taking whatever comes along. In a way, that's a wish too. There's no way around it. We live in a space where everything we do is an invocation. It's either a blessing, a curse, or an invocation. So our words, our actions, our speech, everything we do is either an invocation, a blessing, or a curse. And then the space around us sort of responds to that. You can see that. And this is a really good illustration. I know a lot of you have probably been in a situation where you're really angry and you were kind of taking it out on the space around you, and then someone in the space around you stepped up and you got in a fight. That's a really good example. So you were cursing this space, and then someone stepped into that curse, and then boom, you guys had a fight. I'm always trying to get people to recognize that they're in control and they're in the power of their own lives. And the only way that they can ever really be happy, and the only way they can ever really truly get actualization, is if they become the master of their own lives. Now, in some cases, some people want to be enslaved, and that's really what this is about, this particular archetype, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. They want to have other people make their decisions, and they want to have other people make their choices, and they want to grumble about it while it's happening, and that's okay too. That's a wish too. That's fine. But when we're little kids, we are told right from the beginning, and I believe most of us are told, that we have no power, that the power is outside of us and it's up in space somewhere, and that we have to pray very hard to get the Almighty God or Source or whatever they call it to listen to us, and we have to pray to that, and then maybe it'll answer. And sometimes it does answer, and sometimes it doesn't answer, so we become very confused. Even in a lot of these modern interpretations of the same thing, where it's things like The Secret and Course in Miracles and stuff like that, it's like sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, so it leaves you very confused. So then the next question is, well, why did I get it this time, or why did I not get it that time? In all of these cases, it's a very interesting phenomenon, because what they are setting people up for is this particular archetype, and that is the slave. Now, this is from Carolyn Miss's archetype cards, and I think I said her name right, Miss or Mies. I think this is a wonderful deck, and I use it all the time. This particular archetype, I think, is not so overtly spelled out in the tarot deck. You could say it would be the devil, but I think that the author and the artist very clearly put this one as the slave. What happens with this particular archetype lately when I do readings is kind of shocking. I see this so often that it's become commonplace, is that people find themselves stuck in their lives, or they find themselves unhappy, or they find themselves depressed, or and then somewhere in there I find this one. And the reason is that people are currently outsourcing their lives. They are outsourcing their lives to the other people in their lives. So someone will make a decision about some direction they want to go in, and then all their friends will tell them, well, what do you want to do that for? And then they'll start to change their mind. Or their mother will say, hey, I don't think you should do that, and then they change their mind. Or their father will say, or their children will say, well, why are you doing that? And then they change their mind. Or they go, well, I want to do this, but I got to have this job, and this job pays for this. And so in each case, they are enslaved by the very thing that they are actually trying to overcome in a lot of cases. And they let that job, or that parent, or that child, or that lover, or that friend determine what their life is for them. Now, the funny thing is they never seem to look at the fact that the person giving them the advice isn't free themselves. that the other people who work at the job aren't happy, that the boss isn't really happy, that the mother really isn't happy, that the kids really aren't happy, that the lover really isn't happy, but still they're giving them advice. And so they take their own intuition, their own opinion, their own determination, their own set of mastering, or their own decision to master their own lives, and they drop it because someone else says don't do that. And they let themselves continue to be a slave. I saw this phenomenon a lot when I started doing readings. People will come along and tell me what to do. And as I was doing that over the years, I learned some things about that. People who are outsourcing their lives end up unhappy no matter what, because they're looking for someone else to blame their decisions on. Well, I want to do something, I don't have the courage to do it, so I'm going to ask someone else to tell me what to do, and then I'm going to blame them when it doesn't go the way I say. It doesn't matter if you tell them, hey, try this, this, and this, and they don't follow the instructions, they'll still do it that way. I have a friend who's a voodoo queen in New Orleans, and she told me that when she's actually dealing with people, she's dealing with people all the time, she'll say, hey, do this, don't do that, and then they'll come to her and they'll go, well, I did just as you said. And she'll go, no, you didn't do this, this, and this. I said there were 5 steps to do, you only did 1 of them, now go away. Go away and deal with what you made. I see that a lot with people too. They'll say, hey, well, I want this, this, and this. And I say, well, if you make this set of decisions, you go down that road. If you do this, well, they don't hear part of it because they don't want to hear part of it, because they go, hey, I want this, I want it now, I want it the way I want it. And you go, hey, if you wait a little longer, it'll be even stronger, but they go, no, I want it now. So then it'll blow up, and then it's like, it's your fault. We do that all the time, and it's not just those of us who work in this. The mother or father will tell them what to do. They'll do it. They'll blame the mother and father. They'll give advice to someone. They won't take it, or they'll half take it, and then they'll blame you. So there's a lot of people out there right now who are looking to fit into this particular outsourcing their life archetype. When you outsource your life and you let someone else make the decisions for you, the choices for you, you end up in this. And ultimately, you're going to be unsatisfied, because this particular archetype evolves and becomes center of your life when you refuse to claim your own power. And we have been taught in this day and age that power is a bad thing, but try to help one person, try to make one thing happen if you don't have any power. So there's more to this subject that I'm going to do over the next few days in a series of videos about people meeting their potential, and why it's dangerous for a person not to meet their potential, why not meeting your potential and why not going bigger is actually cursing you and the space around you. I'm going to talk about that a little more. We're going to start with the initial curse on how people curse themselves by outsourcing their lives. They outsource their decisions to other people. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get advice from another person, and if you did, I'd be out of business if you stopped getting advice from someone else. What I am saying, though, is, however, when you do get the advice, the decision in the end is yours. So don't assume that simply because someone gave you the advice and that you took it, the responsibility of your life is off you, because in the end, the responsibility is always on you. Now, I know that childhood sucks, and that most of us have had a really horrible childhood, and we can come up with a million excuses why this didn't work and that didn't work and that didn't work, and that sucks. But there really comes a point in our life where we have to decide, this is my life, and I'm going to make of it what I choose to make of it, or not, in which case I'll be the slave. But if I choose to become someone who takes control of my life, well, then I'm on an adventure. I start a whole new thing, and then I move beyond into a place where I'm maybe a student and I start to learn, and eventually I can be a king or a queen of my own existence, because I can decide, hey, this is my life, these are my decisions and my choices, I'm the one that has to make them. So consider this when you ask people for advice, or when you decide that you can't be the person that you want to be because of a job, or because of someone else in your life who has demands on you, or someone else who's deciding what your life's going to be. Ask yourself, is someone else deciding my fate and decisions for me? Is someone else's advice taking precedence in my life? So am I making a decision about my life and then going and then talking to my friends, and all of a sudden my friends are like, ew, why are you doing that? Well, that's and if you respond and listen to them, chances are you're a slave to them. You've given up your authority and your power to them. When someone else gives you advice and you let them have the power, and then things don't work out, you can't complain, because you're the one that gave away the power. In the end, No one is responsible, again, no one is responsible for the outcomes in your life but you. You can fight against that, you can make arguments about that, you can come up with a million excuses, you can throw a tantrum, but in the end, you're the one that has to look yourself in the mirror. You're the one that has to look at your own reflection and see everything that's there. And everything that you see in that reflection is something that is based on your thoughts, your actions, your words, your decisions. Remember, everything in your life is an invocation, a blessing, or a curse. And the circumstances of your life evolve from those things, from what you think, what you do, what you say, and what you put into the environment around you. Do you want to be a slave? Or do you want to be a king or queen? The difference is the king or the queen is the one who makes the decisions. They might take advice from a trusted advisor, but in the end, they know that their choices, their decisions are theirs. And not always, when someone listens to advice of someone else and it doesn't work, not always is it a case of, well, you told me to do this and it didn't. Sometimes, too, it's a case of, no, you wanted it your way so badly that you avoided the good advice and you went down that road towards your own destruction anyway. So ask yourself, do you want to be a slave? Do you want to be bound to other people's decisions? Or do you want to be a king or a queen who makes their own decisions and seeks a greater kingdom and making a greater kingdom with not only them prospering, but other people as well? I'm Lucky Lynx, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. If you guys would like to get a reading from me, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. Hey, if you want to learn how to read the tarot cards, I got 2 classes. I got a basic, I got an intermediate to advanced class, and I've got one in how to read playing cards. I got one in how to read playing cards. It's my Golden Girl cards here. I got one in how to read crystal ball, one in how to read the Mexican Loteria, and one in how to read, I think that's it. I think that's all 7. So, and for those of you who've donated generously, I thank you for generously donating. And if you're getting something out of these videos and you'd like to donate, then I'm going to put my PayPal and my Venmo in the spot below, and please feel free to donate. I appreciate all of you. And if you'd like to know more about the Tibetan Bond path, which I've been talking about in all my videos, I'd be happy to set you up with my master, His Holiness Padma Gampo Rinpoche. So send me your information and I'll send you. He's on Facebook. Padma Gampo Rinpoche. You can find him on Facebook. And if you'd like to take the retreat that we're having here in Northern California, which is all about manifesting, removing obstacles, and crushing obstacles, and protecting yourself from negativity, it's coming up here in about a week. It's going to be a space. The space is already set. People are already getting ready to come. But if it's not too late, if you'd like to be a part of that retreat, then contact me and I'll send you to His Holiness Padma Gampo Rinpoche, and he'll give you the details on how to make that happen. Okay? So remember, it's your choice: slave or king and queen.